Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Podfathers, the best parenting podcast in the universe. It's your pal Clem here. We got Large and Dirty Jersey, Chaps in the great state of Texas, and we got the two boys behind the scenes, Nikki Buono and Joey Langone, that motherfucker behind the virtual wall of silence. An update from the Casa de Clem. You could hear a little bit of pep in my voice, a little sick still. That's all right, because everything is Irie. The kids are back in fucking school. Sienna had, for people that are following along on Twitter.
I can't wait for you to get an email during the show.
I know.
It's coming.
I'm setting myself up for fucking failure right now. But Sienna had an ice day, one of the days where it was a 2-hour delay, then got followed up by the closure like an hour later, which was an absolute just knife to the heart. Then on Friday, she had a snow day. And amidst all of that, AJ got quarantined. His whole class got quarantined for 10 days. So it looked like AJ was going to be at the house until this coming Thursday. Then this morning, Monday, we're recording January 10th, Black Monday. There's fucking firings going on. Frank the Tank's losing his mind. A lot of shit going up in the air. Sienna goes back to school because the weather's fine. Thank the good Lord himself. Thank you, Mother Nature. Shout out to you. And thanks to the fucking health department, CDC. I don't even know who's in charge of this shit
It might
anymore.
be the first time that old JC and Mother Nature's been paired up as a couple.
Yeah, and that's a power couple right there.
It really
is.
I mean, that's tough to battle. The King of Kings and the Lord of Lords and old Mother Nature. My God.
The queen of all things fucking natural. AJ gets, we get the 10-day quarantine, becomes a 5-day quarantine. Ipso facto, a little bit of math. AJ can go back to school today. So I'm home alone. No one in the house right now. As soon as we end this call, I'm going to masturbate furiously. So I'm feeling good right now. Chaps, how are you doing now? Is Cardi back?
Cardi, it was mixed bag. Cardi's back in school, but it also kind of sucked because we had to wake up super early because we got to leave the house at 7 to get McCartney to school on time because it's like 30, 45 minutes away. So now we're back to getting up at like 6:30, 6:15 instead of like slowly waking up at 7:30, which was fucking great because it's already light outside. Having to set your alarm when it's still dark always sucks. No matter what, just waking up when it's still dark outside. You're like, I don't want to work like this anymore. This is not what I want to do. I'm almost fucking 40. Large is half 100. Like we don't want to do that type of thing. Yep. So I'm kind of torn. Going back to school, great, but I don't anticipate it's going to happen for a long time. I think the school's going to be shut down relatively soon. The positivity rate for COVID tests in San Antonio right now is like 83% of people who test have it. Like everybody's going to have it. And the school last week, they took a whole planning week. I ranted last week about a planning day out of nowhere. I found out every other school district was back in school, like all the other public schools. My kid, a full week of teacher training. Are you fucking kidding me? A full week of teacher training?
Mother of God, mother of fucking God.
And also, Clem, you said the late. I think we should have a Podfather rule because if the kids are going to school and it's 10 o'clock, you have a 2-hour late start. I'm not sending my kids to school anymore because then it becomes even more of a burden on me. I gotta drop them off at 10 and then I got to come back 3 hours later to pick them up 4 hours later. No, thanks. My kids will just be on YouTube all day.
Yeah, exactly. That's the one thing I've realized I haven't been doing enough. Not putting my kids on the iPad enough. Complete just fumbling by I should be fired right now as the head coach of the family for not giving them the iPad as much the last few weeks. That's completely on me. You try to have them do stuff offline or off the screens. Just a fucking idiot. What an idiot. What a fucking idiot.
Speaking of, Clem, by the way, we're reaching out to a child psychologist in Australia whose entire PhD is based on screen times in kids. And she's saying that the science doesn't show that it affects attention span at all. And in some ways, it helps them with multitasking. So she's actually saying the science is going against what conventional wisdom amongst parents has been in the last 10 years.
At this rate, not getting their eyes ready for being in front of a screen, since that's what we'll all be doing, once they become young professionals in this world, fucking students, let alone professionals. That's all they're going to be doing. So we might as well get those eyeballs, get a little bit of callus on the front of them there too. So they'll just be able to get all those screen time.
Do you think that that's going to affect microevolution of humans? Like how our eyes color will change based on blue lights?
Yeah,
Yeah, I mean, probably. I think the reason you're going all the way to Australia to find the woman is because she's full of shit. She'd be left at every fucking medical school in the United States. Yeah.
Lars, we're not gonna poo-poo there. I'm trying to make the parents feel good.
It's a guilty pleasure. I mean, as we start to rapidly devolve into a Wall-E like fucking existence, you're gonna see people like this pop up all the time. So it's like, oh yeah, no, it's good. It's good for him.
Wow, Large sitting on the science he hasn't even looked at. Your scientific method's not the best, Large.
Believe me, if it's science that says I don't have to move and it's better for me, I know it's not good.
Actually, drinking at Arturo's turns out to be great for you.
Like the CPAP machine, I was like, so is the reason I'm overweight the reason I need the CPAP, or is the reason I need the CPAP the reason that I'm overweight? I try to fucking push off
all the spaghetti or
but why is it there? And I finally found somebody to tell me it wasn't my fault, and I've paid that guy thousands of dollars since then. And he's not under our plan. So we're doing fine. I think tomorrow the high is going to be 7 tomorrow. So tomorrow is going to be the coldest day of the week. The high is going to be 21. The low is going to be 7. So that's going to be the gamut that we're going to run in.
We do weather chat. I love it.
7 to 22. We looked at it today because I took the dogs out. I told you guys I was up last night yelling at my oldest, and then we all got up early this morning. It really took. Even the kids upstairs who listened to me, I mean, everybody was up at 6:40. My house was bustling, everybody. And then this morning, Eddie drove Finn to school. Mick had already left in just a sweatshirt and a t-shirt. It's 10 fucking degrees out. You know what I mean? So he's probably gonna, catch a cold or whatever. But at least I think the yelling had sunk in a little bit. So we're freezing our balls off, but I gotta say, unlike you guys, every now and again, if they can just walk home, if you guys get to the point where, will you never be at a point, chaps, with Cardi, will you never be at a point where she can walk to and from school, go on her own, like the bus or something like that?
No, they won't be able to do that. It's way too far. I mean, it's legit. It's probably 20, 25 miles away.
And then Clem, the same thing with you. Will you ever be able to just have them all right, see ya, and then they can, how are you ever going to be in a situation where you won't have to wake up for your kid to go to school?
Oh yeah, definitely. They can just walk to the bus stop, right? It's a house down, and then they're good. So yeah, they won't be walking to school, but they'll be walking straight to the bus and back whenever.
Right.
What is that? Middle school. That was the other thing I forgot. When they're in elementary school, it's no, you have to be there to get them off the bus, which thankfully my job allows. But there's a lot of people that they have to change their whole lives, or they have to hire someone to do that. But since we're fucking idiot bloggers at home,
you have to be there.
That's the question. I was actually wondering this the other day, because Sienna, now she's in 2nd grade. It's all happened in a flash because it was 2 years of remote learning. But at some point, I don't know if it's 4th grade, I don't know if it's middle school and 6th grade. At some point, they're like, oh no, the kid's old enough, we could drop them off here. But if you're not there, which happened to me once, a couple of weeks ago, I was here. One of the guys was installing some stuff for the kitchen. He had to finish a couple things, and my wife calls me, and I pick up and I look at the time and go, oh shit. First thing in my head, I look at the clock, 3:45. It was 3:50, and I was like, up. And she's like, yep, Sienna's going back to school right now. I have to go pick her up because she gets AJ. I stay for Sienna.
I'm sure it was real calm with laughing too.
Yeah. She's like,
Clem, you goofed again.
She's like, just promise me you weren't just on Twitter this whole time. Like, no, the guys are here. They're installing the heaters right now. I swear to God, I wasn't fucking watching a YouTube video or Easter eggs of the new Star Wars show.
Clem acting like he handled that so calmly. When he looked down at his phone, he was really like, mother of Christ.
It was the blood just completely empty from my face. I was pale as a ghost.
However, you're in trouble.
What I dreaded more, because my wife has already lost all hope of me being a good husband, a good father. She's kind of just all right, we'll just take average at this point. I was so scared of Sienna coming home, because it's Dad, if you forgot me at soccer practice, just that feeling.
She gets in the car and it's just
She comes in, she's like, "Oh, that was crazy, Dad. I can't believe you did that." And I was like, "All right, girl, let's go play some Fortnite. Let's go kill some people in video games." And it was fucking, thank God she was so cool. AJ, I mean, he already dislikes me as it is. He would straight up have never talked to me again. But I got lucky with the kid. That
AJ just mutters typical whenever it gets in the car.
Has anyone else ever done that? Have you guys ever missed a kid on the bus? Or I guess Annie, for you, Large, has anyone ever had to go pick up the kids because they weren't there for the drop off or anything like that?
I think you get mixed reviews on that in my house, because I've actually had that conversation especially when I had the regular real job, like I was never my responsibility because I was out of the house before the kids got up and I was home after they'd gotten home, like regular people are. And so if I was to ask, and is it ever no, I'm always there or something like that, and the kids behind her will be like, so I think every now and again it's been that, that what would you call it, the 7 to 12? I think I called it once. I was like, Andy, you ever do a 7 to 12 minute thing? Because between 7 and 12 minutes, that's when a kid's like 3:57 and 3:12. They're like, where the fuck is she? You know what I mean? Like that's when they start to jump into weird vans to get free candy. So I think it's happened a couple of times, but I think it all depends on who you ask. I have a buddy, and I've mentioned him before with you guys. He's got an only child with just one son. Every time I hear that, I'm like, oh, that's so awesome. But he's got this kid. And remember I told you he wanted to do something special every year on his birthday with his son, just he and him. Mm-hmm. And I told him, since this kid has been eating medium rare steaks since he was in kindergarten. So every week, he took my advice. Every year, without his wife, just him and his son do something, the two boys, they go to a different steakhouse in New York or around the area. So now they've been doing it for the past 12 years and he loves it. And there's an unlimited amount of steakhouse. Sometimes they'll go for like a cheese steak, like just to do the whole thing. He's the same guy that I think it was around the 3rd or 4th grade, the kid took a real interest in frying an egg. So he was like, Large, I got to the point where I'd be home from work and, you wonder what your wife does and stuff. My kid would get up in the morning, go downstairs, fry himself an egg, and he lived a block away from grammar school. And then the kid would go and, go walk to school. Like the mom wouldn't even fucking know. And that's the Rosetta Stone, right? Like to have a kid, it's sort of Little House on the Prairie.
We had that with Kelsey when Kelsey was in elementary school, because we only lived like 3 blocks away, so she could walk to school.
Right. And so that would blow my mind, because obviously, so with Kels, and then you had Cardi come along, like you were never out of the weeds though. You know what I mean? Like once she started, like, once Mick started to walk, Finn started to crawl, and Bridge was, you know what I mean? Like we've had the leg, he hasn't. And at some point very early, like 3rd or 4th grade, his kid is up fucking frying an egg putting on his hat, going off to school, and you don't even know if he went. I mean, it's that. So that's the fucking dream. And then the reality of it is, like right now from where we moved, like I've told you guys multiple times, this is the best situation we've ever been in. Like I wouldn't have to do shit to get these kids to school other than I make Bridge lunch every day. If it wasn't for the weather, we wouldn't have them. Like tomorrow, and I'll definitely drive all 3 of them, because like I said, it's going to be 7 degrees.
Yep. So shout out to everyone going through it right now. In terms of, we've had a bunch of people reach out, like either COVID shit. Everyone's been sick since like the holidays. You have 1 or more kids in your house that you're supposed to love these little bastards with all your heart, right? But just having them constantly in your mess as you're trying to work too, it just makes everything crazy. So shout out everyone out there.
I was so happy when you said the other day too, chaps, because you did the takeout from the steakhouse, that every time when you come to town, you make sure you do a dinner by yourself, like a fancy pantsy dinner by yourself too. I've done that every like business meeting I've ever done. There was one guy I used to work with, his name is Jim. I shouldn't say his last name. Every time we'd get off the plane in Boston, we used to go to Boston probably, I don't know, once every 2 weeks to go and suck somebody's dick. Right. Mm-hmm. And like, as soon as we get off the plane in Boston, if you landed in gate A35 and it only went up to A36, everyone got off the plane and went this way to go to get their baggage and stuff like that. For some reason, Jim would go this way and you wouldn't see him until the next day. Like he had somebody there, I guess a girlfriend. And so we always just didn't know what the fuck was going on. And the rest of us would go out and stuff like that together. But even if it's a multi-day thing, like taking your time, having 3 chi and a drink, and I know we're not supposed to, so having 3 chi and a juice, then sitting down, having a nice big fucking meal by yourself, then going home to your hotel room feeling fantastic. Sign me up.
Just laying down on super clean new sheets, laid your head down in the 8 pillows that nobody else is going to use, and you can just throw the rest of them on the floor.
Naked, right? I mean, as you came into the world is as I sleep in a hotel, and it's just a fucking makes me happy.
Skid marks on the sheets be damned.
I feel like 3Chi is best enjoyed naked. I feel like they can put that on the label, right? Large. Well, you're usually on the airplane large. That would be a problem. I would blog the shit.
I disagree. Like a big naked baby.
It's the only way the seatbelt fits.
Right.
Oh, I got an idea for a piece of content I'm thinking about doing. Since I get all these weapons and shit, I'm thinking about doing the deadliest weapon instead of like the deadliest weapon. So like, right? So if I do this, and you pull down the guard, and now that shoots these 3 darts. And
wow, yeah.
They're sharp. They're not,
how hard we talking they shoot? Oh,
what? You know what I mean?
That's pretty good,
like,
yeah.
He's largest puncturing cardboard right now with this dart gun he has.
Don't you think like that's something I should do? Because I got so many of these fucking things.
I mean, almost seems foolish not to.
We should have a YouTube channel. We could have all these things. We could put the podcast on there. So we'll see what happens with that.
We'll talk
to Nick about
Give
that.
AJ a crossbow.
Oh, and by the way, another thing, Nick Buono, right?
Mm-hmm.
Right. I think Buono means good in Italian. Shouldn't he be Nicky the Good?
Yeah.
He should be Nicky the Good. No? Or am I out of my fucking mind?
Nicky be good?
Nicky the Good. Nicky the... What's up?
I've been called that before. Yeah. That was my in high school.
If we don't call him Nicky the Good, we're missing out. Like Nicky the Good, Nicky 2 times, Nicky 3 sheets, like that type of stuff.
I love Nicky 2 times.
Nicky the Good and Joey the fuckface, or Joey the Bad. I love you, Joey. You big bag of dicks. Speaking of good guys here, gotta shout out to gotta put a big RIP out there to Bob Saget, man. That was a fucking doozy on Sunday night when that I called him America's dad, basically, at least in the 90s. That was the TV dad of the fucking decade. Full House.
America's Funny. Cosby, the original America's dad, wasn't he? That's what his nickname was.
That's how we
stripped it from him. Yeah,
you're 100%.
Yeah, you're definitely not.
We had
no. We have a new one. We have a new that was like replacing Hank Aaron with Barry Bonds. There's a new king in town.
Exactly. We had the March Dadness.
Not saying Hank Aaron sexually assaulted multiple women across multiple cities.
I should probably say that out loud twice.
Yeah. 2 times.
We had the March Dadness bracket here back in the early days of Podfathers, where we had TV dads, and, all different kind of dads from all walks. And Danny Tanner, I had to look it up. Second place to Randy Marsh, but he made it all the way to the finals there. Randy Marsh, that was an aggressive dad win by Randy Marsh. I couldn't believe that happened. But at least for me, Full House was number 1 show in my house for sure. And absolutely crushed that role. Danny Tanner was the fucking germaphobe, cleany, kind of a dweeb, but you loved him nonetheless. Chaps, you were talking about America's Funniest Videos, which I forgot. I mean, he crushed that fucking role. And he was kind of the dad in that show too,
Oh yeah. And I think that without him doing the voiceover, he was the original YouTube reaction show. Like that's what AFE was. Like it's the original of that.
And it still hits to this day.
We watch it every Sunday still.
It started we had Alfonso Ribeiro on the show, and he was talking about how great of a gig that was. And he was basically
didn't he make like $10 million a year doing that?
He was on Dancing with the Stars, which that guy Tom Bergeron hosted. And Tom Bergeron, while he was talking to Alfonso Ribeiro and Dancing to the Stars, was like, listen, I'm a little like burnt out doing this, funniest videos. You want to give it a whirl? And that's how he got that. And it's been like a huge, steady gig for him. Like Alfonso Ribeiro, by the way, is like a scratch golfer. He's got like that huge Madden cruiser. He just drives around
thick
the fucking
ass.
He's oh man, it's like he's sitting on dubs.
Got an absolute dump truck.
He does. And he was like, it started the same week as The Simpsons, which everyone knows is the longest running show on TV or something like that. And so that's that. It's like the American Kennel Club, the Westminster Dog Show, how it's second only to the fucking Kentucky Derby. Like I think the only thing that's been running longer than that show is The Simpsons. which is
and Bergeron has like $100 million because of that show. He's like legitimately uber wealthy because of it.
Yeah.
And
yeah, there is no ridiculousness on 23 hours a day on MTV without America's Funniest Home Videos. I mean, it's
me and my mom were on America's Funniest People. Do you remember that one?
Yeah,
like the offshoot.
Yeah,
they used to do those montages, and my mom and I went down to Orange Park Mall and tried out for it, and it was kids got to use their parents as Mr. Potato Head. So they had like all these different things, and I put like pipe cleaner around my mom's ears and put like whipped cream in her hair, like all kinds of stuff. And we got on. When I went back to third grade at Lake Asbury Elementary School, the Rams, by the way, I thought that I was king dingling. I thought that I was like super famous. When I brought it in and I showed them that 15-second clip, all my friends were like, this is the coolest thing I've ever seen in my fucking life.
By the way, I didn't know who Randy Grant?
Randy Marsh.
Yeah, I didn't know. That's a South Park guy. I had to just Google that. I had no fucking clue. That's disgraceful that's what you guys came up with.
That was the giant balls gift that we had for you last week, because you now have these giant 50-year-old saggy balls. That was Randy Marsh's balls that were attached to your head. So
I can't stop looking at them, by the way. So I was gonna send you guys this clip. Some guy got a tattoo of Rocky doing this.
Oh yeah.
On the inside.
And on the other side, it was that squirrel from Ice Age trying to get the nuts.
He said the reason I got it is so when my balls hang, it looks like Rocky's working the speed bag. I've never seen that before. So as an idea, it's a birthday idea, maybe for 51.
Yeah, that'd be nice.
I'll throw Mayweather in there. No, I'll throw the Gypsy King. Oh, Canelo, obviously. What am I saying?
There you go. Yeah, the Canelo. Yeah, for sure.
Of all the TV dads, going back to Danny Tanner, of all the TV dads that you know of, and you could have picked them to be your father, who would you have picked?
And we got to throw Heath the Foxables out the window. Cannot pick him.
He's out. You can keep his sweaters, but the rest of them got to go.
Yes, for sure.
I love Phil Dunphy. I mean, I watched, I told you I watched, we used to DVR Modern Family because it was something good to watch with the kids. Up until the last season, it got a little bit racy, but we used to get a big kick out of Phil. I thought he was great. And growing up, there was this guy, James, the black dude from Good Times, James Evans Jr. He was like, he was like all jacked and stuff. Like it seemed like if anyone fucked with me at school, like that guy fucking, went down and took care of business. And I'm so old. I love like Gomez Adams from the fucking Adams Family.
Don't you bring up the Adams Family?
You don't think I would be going around with a dart gun shooting fucking Pugsley and stuff like that?
You could fit in with that.
I don't care.
I mean, you already got the weapons.
Done. I don't fucking care anymore. I wrote the blog. I do not care. So yeah, Gomez Adams is no, Phil Dunphy, I think is I don't know why. I kind of liked his I like the cut of his jib.
That's hard to argue.
How about you?
This dad, he's not the best dad in the world by far. Definitely not the best dad. I know he actually left his kid at practice once, just like I did, and maybe that's why I kind of gravitate towards him. But you get older and you appreciate the finer things in life, and you realize Homer Simpson had it pretty fucking good, man. Mm-hmm. He was a pretty goddamn good dad. He cared about his kids. He did whatever he could. Fucking had a slave over that power plant. Hard worker. Sector 7G. So I gotta go. Not
Homer stepping out on Marge.
Never a dull moment in that house. Never a dull moment in that house.
No.
So I gotta go Homer. What about you, Chapsy?
I think I would go with Tim the Toolman Taylor. I think that he would just be a very fun dad to be around.
That's the original longtime toolie right there.
Yeah. I mean, he would bring you out, like you can work on the car with him. You can go and do things with tools, power tools. He's going to make you laugh. He's going to make you laugh. I mean, if that was your dad and you're riding in the car and he's like revving up the engine going, you would love that for the rest of your life. Like you would look back and be like, fucking dad, what a goofball.
I mean, you think about
he loves his power tools, that motherfucker.
when you're older too, when you're with like your brother and sister, you're like, remember when Daddy used to go, arr. Like that's fucking wholesome, man. Got a shout out.
You would
Uncle
always
Phil.
know what to get Tim for Christmas. You get him
That's
a gift
true.
card to Home Depot or Lowe's, and you're set. You get him gunmetal chrome. My God,
the gunmetal
chrome. What do we think of? What do we think about Uncle Phil? Does he not fit into? I mean, he was a dad in the show, but his name was literally Uncle Phil. I feel like that's kind of a loophole. And he's rich as shit, but he was a good dad. Solid dad.
Yeah, I think he has good character, but you want your dad to be around a little bit more. Seemed like Phil was out of the house a lot.
Yep. I saw your shirt too, Texas Forever Chaps too. I'm thinking Eric Taylor, Coach Taylor from Friday Night Lights.
Never seen it.
Good ass. Really? Oh, never. After The Wire, our boy Chaps, he's watching The Wire.
God damn it, Clem. I didn't want it out there that I was watching it for the first time.
We mentioned it last week. I think we mentioned it on the episode last week. Okay. So I made sure that
I apologize.
And if not, I'm sorry, but hopefully no one spoils it for you. You can stay off of Zod's feed.
Oh, indeed.
Tony Soprano? If we talk about like iconic TV shows?
Walter White?
Walter White?
Is sort of the right place.
Al Bundy?
Carl Winslow, good dad.
Carl Winslow,
great dad. You could. I'm trying to think of like Game of Thrones dads, like
Ned Stark.
Balky? What about Balky?
Balky Bartakamus?
Ned Stark was not a great dad.
That used to be that had a great theme song, right? The
best theme song maybe ever. Perfect Strangers theme song is
that's so good.
It was a couple of bars, Clem.
Standing tall on the wings of my dreams, rise and fall.
In it, Clem.
They're bouncing. How the guys in Chicago haven't made like a little quick video of them just fucking going around the Windy City with that song in the background. Balky Bartakamus, to Dance of Joy. Great song. And that's the thing. That's why I love the Podfathers listeners, because a lot of them are around our age because they're all stuck in this parental prison that we're in. So they're all usually, they saw at least one episode of Perfect Strangers at some point.
Greatest name you know of off the top of your head. No thought. First up, large. Who you got?
Michael Stonebreaker was a linebacker at Notre Dame. That's a fucking name.
That's a great name. Clem.
I mean, I can't get Balky Bartakamus out of my head. Like that's
that counts. I think you could use Balky
over and over in my head is Balky Bartakamus.
How about you, Class?
Slobodan Milosevic. That or Boutros Ghali.
Yeah, Apu Nahasapipa Pitalan. That's a fucking another one.
Booyakasha.
So R.I.P. Bob Saget. After all that, we'll just come back to what started it all.
R.I.P. Bob Saget. You guys meet him? Did you?
I never did, but everything I'm reading from anyone at Barstool who met him was like, I saw your blog where you had him on the show. Dave was waxing poetic, and Dave doesn't usually get like emotional at all, but he said he was like a hell of an acquaintance. He couldn't imagine what it's like being a friend of his. You had him on Breakfast.
Dude, Uncle Jesse's tweet was sad.
Yeah.
Man.
Oh, that was sad.
That's it. He came on a couple of times, and then one time when gold was a thing, we decided to do an interview with him. I said, "Can you do a quick interview?" He's like, "Of course." So he sat down. He's like, "How long do you want this interview to be?" I said, "People usually tune out after like 15 minutes, so we'll do somewhere between 7 and 12, between like 15 minutes or so." And as soon as I said that, he purposely went 45 minutes. He would not. Every time I'd be like, "Let's wrap it up," he'd be like, "But what about?" He went 45 fucking minutes. You don't do 45-minute interviews unless you're with a Medal of Honor winner, right, Chaps? Right. I mean, unless you have a guy who pulled people out of the suck. You don't do it with fucking the guy from Full House. And he was awesome. But he was always on. Like, everything was like, that's what she said. Like, always, do you know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
it seemed exhausting to be that type of comedic mind for him. But, and again, like what Dave said, he reached out to us like after every appearance with like thank yous and stuff like that. Very gracious, very professional, and just an extremely funny guy.
Have you seen the roast that Norm Macdonald did of him? Like that went kind of viral again last night. Awesome. Yeah. I watched it last night, and watching it in context that both of them are now gone, it was the ending of how Norm like switched it and became real serious at the end, and said that Bob Saget was like the nicest comedian on the circuit and never spoke ill will about any other comics and always tried to help other people out. And you could see Bob Saget, like how much that meant to him. He like started welling up at what Norm Macdonald was saying, which is not something from those two guys that you would expect. but you would expect Norm Macdonald to do the roast the way that he did it. Have you seen it, Large?
Yeah, it's
Where
fucking
it's just
awesome.
like awful dad jokes throughout the
Just
entire
nothing
thing.
landing.
I mean,
like,
that's when you know you're like a genius. When you could go up and intentionally make bad jokes for 10 minutes and everybody's rolling because you were such a good comedian all the time. It was incredible.
Sandberg did it too at one of the things where he just had all his jokes fall flat and people got it, but it wasn't as like universal as it was for Norm. But even in this stupid, and I don't say listen to the 45-minute thing, but I asked Bob, I was like, you're always on. Do you know what I mean? Like, how'd it feel to lose an Emmy to Kathy Griffin? He said, oh, I think he's a great fellow. Like everything was just one after the other. I said,
well, let's play it. Why don't we just put it in at the end of the podcast so people can hear it?
45 minutes. Yeah.
Yeah.
But I said, when are you going to stop? When are you going to like slow down and not be like creating stuff in your mind? And he had said to me, he's like, no, I'm going to die on the road. I was like, they're going to bury you under a stage. And sure enough, he was fucking on the road, right? He was in Orlando hotel room in the middle of another thing at 65. He's 65 years old. So
his last show was in Jacksonville.
Rest in peace. Oh yeah, really?
Yeah.
Well, what a way to go out.
I know.
Him
and the Colts.
Right? Little Debbie's at the wake.
Yeah, Madden, Betty White, and Madden, Betty White, and Bob Saget all in like a week or 2 weeks time. Fucking shit, man. Crazy. Three beloved figures. We'll lighten things up a bit.
Wait, who is the other one? Betty White.
John Madden.
Madden. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And that, like, you just go on Twitter and it's just like people just like fuck, shit, motherfucker. And then it's all like the nice things. That's how you know you made a good impact.
That seemed like one of those ones that wasn't true. Right. You know how every now and again they say somebody else is dead. There's a couple of people who are said to be dead every now and again. I doubted that for a second. And yeah, so sure enough, because did he seem 65 to you? Did he seem 15 years older than me? Not looked, but would you have guessed it? Like now in his retrospective?
I guess logically, you would have to. Like, because I'm almost 40 and I was 10 watching Full House. So
yeah, it wasn't until I saw the retrospectives of how young he was when he first started doing that shit. Like he was very young, so I think he looked good for his age. Probably colored his hair, no big deal. Mm-hmm. But like I didn't peg him as somebody who'd even be in the realm of possibility or somebody who would pass away. No,
because he didn't look strung out like a strung out 65. He looked like a healthy 65.
Yeah, like these comedy, like if Joey Coco
Have they said what happened?
No, I don't think it's come out just yet. At least not since this morning.
The other thing is for me, he's my parents' age, so that always fucks me up now is when you're seeing these 65-year-old, Betty White dies at 99. You're like, wow, I'm happy she made it that long, almost made it to the hundo, full 100. But it fucks you up when people your parents' age are just dropping, and it's like that's just it seems natural. I don't really know. We'll see what comes out. We'll lighten things up a bit. Chapsy sent this text to the group. We'll go to Content Corner and goes, we got to talk about Sister Wives on the show this week. And I have no clue where the fuck we are about to go right now.
When Sister Wives first came out, if you're not familiar with Sister Wives, it's the lovely tale of romance of 4 beautiful, beautiful women and one gorgeous steed of a man named Cody. And they all lived in Utah, moved to Las Vegas, and now they're in Flagstaff, Arizona. And the COVID rules in these houses are out of control. They live, first of all, polygamy is not something I would ever be interested. 4 different conversations of text, like with 4 different women who text you the same amount as every other spouse. No, thank you. All day. You would never put your phone down. You'd constantly be talking. You'd always have these issues. You don't want to deal with it. Well, when I think of polygamy, you would think that all of them live either in the same house or very close together, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
These folks are living like 30 minutes apart each. How does that work?
That's across town.
I would never want to do that. And if you are a sister wife, this is the main thing I want to talk about because they're all having different strife. They let a young hottie boom lottie in with the rest of the olds, like whenever the rest of the women were like 40, getting up there, like not having babies anymore. They brought in a 25-year-old And now she's the one that's sleeping with the husband all the time and everybody's getting jealous. And it's like, no shit, dude. Why would you let her in? You can't let her in.
That's how Sister Wives end. That's how Sister Wives become Sister Ex-Wives.
The whole thing's falling apart. There's so much drama that right now, if you haven't started watching Sister Wives and you want to get into it, buddy, there's 16 fucking seasons of that shit.
16 seasons?
I've never seen it. I just looked it up. There's 16 seasons. There's 16.
They did one half of a season, Large, where they are so committed to the show. During COVID, they couldn't have the producers and camera people like go in and film it. They filmed the entire thing on their iPhones for a TLC show.
Yeah, I mean, there's a certain fascination to me. They will not get a millisecond of my fucking gray matter. But
Large, you're really
yeah. That's why I said it. Fuck polygamy. Really I just looked. I don't think anyone's going to look at this podcast and be like, "Wow, what a group of handsome gentlemen." But if you look at the Sister Wives cast now, that hottie Bumbalati, that youngster, she seems like she grew a little old.
Yeah, she let herself go. She got the COVID-20, I think.
The bloom is off the rose with those people. Like, I would be interested in maybe Sister Wives who was, maybe they were all like 24 and 25. Bonk me all you want.
You're talking OnlyFans.
Yes.
This here. And the guy looks like he's a special type of dude too. It looks like
any grown man that perms his hair, you can't trust him.
That's twice as long as Full House ran, just for the record here. That's what we're talking about, this goddamn show. What a shame. What a goddamn shame.
It's a remarkable show. I'll power rank my Discovery Plus shows real quick. Obviously, coming in at number 1 is 1,000-Pound Sisters, just a breakaway. I mean, not even close. And come to find out, Amy's pregnant with her second child. I don't know if that gastric bypass is going to hold. I'll just say that.
Jesus.
To the prison inmate show, where they have like a matchmaker where they do Tinder for jail folks. That shit was electric. And Love on the Spectrum is the other one. Just a delightful show. Whereas
Jesus Christ.
And 4th would be Sister Wives. Oh, don't forget Plathville too, where you have the conservative Christians who are revolting against their parents. I love that.
It's almost unlucky to talk about this stuff. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
One of these kids are going to be born with horns.
My entry from Content Corner is a little different. Finally got to finish Ron Gone Wrong. Remember, I had to leave halfway through the movie. I gave it like a 4.2 on the ball scale. You guys all busted my balls for not seeing the whole thing. Can confirm, awesome fucking movie. Gonna stay with the 4.2 on the ball scale. Hearty recommend for the kids, and you can watch it with your kids. It's delightful. Have you guys, either of you guys watched it yet? It's now on Disney Plus for free. You don't have to have like the subscription, like the $20 extra or whatever to pay to watch it. Have either of you guys seen it with the kids?
I watched Encanto. I think that's what it's called.
I was watching that when John Madden died. I got like 20 minutes in. It was a nice family moment. I'm so proud of myself, Chapsy. I was so proud. I was like, I'm watching the movie. I'm like, I'm not going on the phone. I'm going to just pay attention. And then Coley texts me, sorry to do this to you, pal, but, and then I see the text like, motherfucker. So when I hear that movie, I think of John Madden dying. Was it good? I want to know, because the kids seem to like it. Is it good? Like, would I want to watch it?
I fell asleep.
Oh, wow. So thumbs down on Encanto then.
I mean, it's beautiful. What Pixar is doing with the imaging now is incredible. Like everything looks like a Thomas Kincaid painting.
And it's Lin-Manuel is the musical director. He does like all the songs and shit like that. I believe.
You should get a Kincaid in your office, Large.
Replace the OJ and the fucking white Bronco.
Yeah, get the light setting up like they have at the mall. Depending on your mood, you can switch it.
You switch on the lights and the fucking Bronco starts beep beep.
I mean, I think there used to be a website where you could take any picture and Thomas Kincaid it. Yeah, or Thomas Kincaid, or you could Lisa Frank it.
You can Lisa
like a trapper keeper.
I haven't seen either of them yet. I know that Mitchell and the Machines had got like really good end of year buzz. A lot of people had it as their top 10 movie of the year. Like they slid that one in. I saw that. I thought that was a great movie, but I think I'm going to see this Sing 2. Like that's probably the one out of all the kids' movies. I still haven't seen Spider-Man, which is embarrassing, but I think Sing 2 is the one that I'm going to go see. People say that it's better than Sing 1. I thought Sing 1 was relatively delightful. And Kevin had complained the other day. I never really understand like what the money making scheme behind like Black Widow being on both DVR and in the theaters. But for this, he's like, I'm going to sit down with my daughter, rent it. You can't buy it. You can't buy it. So you have to rent it for like $25. And then his daughter the next day will be like, can we watch it again? And he'll be like, of course, we still have 6 hours to watch it again, right? Because he gets 24-hour, I think, on it. And so and then the next day she'll ask for it, incessantly. So he's going to wind up spending like $75 renting this movie until it comes up for purchase, I think. And that's fucking brilliant. For that movie, something like Sing with a little girl who wants to see it, because I think that the first one was very rewatchable. So yeah, I think I'm going to probably watch it at home, and I'm going to get that one. I enjoy Sing a lot, so I'm looking forward to it.
I saw Sing in the theater. By the way, Kevin saw Sing in the theater at least, I think, 5 times with his kids.
Sing like, 2?
Sing 2. Went to because his kids were obsessed with Sing 1. They love Johnny the gorilla, and I was like, I just saw Sing 2 with the kids. We liked it a lot. He's like, bro, I'm going on like my 5th day in a row this was during Christmas break, obviously. He's just trying to get him the fuck out of the house. So he went, got, tickets for everyone, probably popcorn, sodas, the whole 9, and probably spent, already $200 just in theater experiences. And now he's doing it at home. At that point, at home, you have to either delete like Disney Plus or whatever app it's on off of your, streaming device. Or you're like, oh, kids, it just disappeared. Or you just like unplug the internet for a little bit.
Couldn't you just watch it one time on your computer and screen record it?
Chapsy, I think we might have a plan here.
I'm no genius, but that seems like a pretty easy move.
With me sneaking in snacks and Chaps bootlegging fucking stuff.
That would be a high quality bootleg if you did it that way.
Yeah.
Or low quality one, like the ones I used to buy off a fucking bed sheet in front of a fucking where it was like the Last Dragon, but it was somebody doing this behind something. Like you could see somebody's head moving in front of it. You hear coughs in the background. So but what the fuck do they know? Bootleg the shit out of it. You're right.
What happened to bootleggers now too? Like if you can't sell those anymore. You're not going to sell. You can't even get a DVD player, right? To play the bootlegs in. You can't, like, people can get high. They can bet. They can do whatever the fuck they want now. What are those people doing now? They're just fucking. I don't know.
It's the illegal stream type things. Those people who run the streaming websites. So
yeah. So I Sing 2. I don't know if it was better than Sing 1. Like the story wise, they just play nothing but bangers though. Like that's the smartest way you can do for a movie. I feel like they're owned by Sony or something like that, and they just
why Apple TV crushes it too, because they can have like the Ted Lasso show has an amazing soundtrack because they have the whole catalogs of bands.
Like just in between like scenes where it's not even like an important scene, they'll just play like a top 20 song that it would be like the center of another movie. They just play it just because like fuck it, we have it. It's probably just paying themselves to use it in the movie. But ball scale, I'm gonna say 4.0. 4, even 4 on the ball scale. That's what I'm going to give it. And debatably better than Sing 1. Sing 1, it starts a little slow. This one starts right off the bat, coming in hot. But I kind of want to hear what Large has to say about it. We'll wrap things up in the mailbag. barstoolsports.com/askdad, podfathershow@gmail.com, or podfathershow on Instagram or Twitter. We got a ton of questions we have to get to, so we're going to just get to a couple and then keep rolling next week. First one comes from Jeff, and this one he had before the break, and I wanted Large to tell it back during the holiday season, but it didn't work out. He said, ask Large to tell the TikTok Mick and Bridges story that he blogged about just before Thanksgiving. And I wanted you to tell it, Large, because it made it to your Christmas card this year, was the infamous TikTok story. And now that, time has healed wounds literally and figuratively, I think you can tell the story now, right? Oh, you're muted.
Yeah, she's, you can still see it though. It's crazy how, like, when you have long hair, and I have no idea what it's like anymore, but to see how long it would take to get back, but I guess I didn't tell it. Bridge was doing TikToks on the mantle in the living room. Like, so she had her phone set up at TikToks and she was doing some stuff. I was sitting at the dining room table, which you can see from the mantle, like there's a see-through to it. And then Mick was vacuuming because I'm paying for his college. And so as Mick's doing, we have one of those Mielis, like it's an old school, not expensive like a Dyson, but it's a bear of a German vacuum. This thing, it will take parts of the rug up too. So, and it was one of those ones where the
Heather Harmon, Heather Brooke quality vacuum.
Yes, 100%. Yeah, I got that one.
Married to a Marine.
Yeah.
But
the motor's in the top, not like a Dyson where it has, like the motors, it has the rotors in the head. So Bridget is doing something where she's in front of it doing a couple of dances. They get almost hypnotized by that stuff. And Mick thought it would be funny to sort of put the vacuum above her head to bust her chops as she went back onto like a chaise lounge. So it was, maybe like 2 feet above her head, but then she popped her head up right into where this idiot had the vacuum, and it sucked it right into the rotors. I mean, right into the fucking rotors. And I'm telling you, she let out a blood curdling scream. Like, when your kids, and I had just gotten it a couple of weeks earlier when I remember I told you, like, you ever see in like an older Southern movie where a black grandma is like, oh, Lordy. Like I had heard something like that, and it was Annie being attacked by a fucking dog outside when it ran out. Like Annie was like, Lordy, mother, like I had heard like that type of real scream from Bridge. Her hair gets sucked up into the rotors, and Mick and Bridge have a great relationship. They're very, very, very close. She's gonna be crushed when he goes to school. Mick goes and hits the button on the canister part of the vacuum to shut it down, right? But this moron doesn't realize it's not a fucking light switch that just goes off and on. It powers down the rotors. So he hits the button and he doesn't hear it go, ew. He hears it go, So he thinks he didn't do it enough. So he hits the button again, which starts it up again, which gives it another fucking tug. And then he hits it like, so I see this. It's like when you have your hand on the stove, you don't know right away until you smell bacon. And then I jump up, very athletic too, by the way.
Right.
You see me pop up. You see it, right, chaps?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, very athletic. Yeah.
I'm still sore.
Yeah,
and I get over there.
Limber.
And if you see the actual video, at the same time I'm running, Mick runs away. And everyone's like, holy shit, what a coward. But he ran to the wall and he ripped out the plug. So when I got there, it was still going as he was grabbing the plug, and I grabbed her fucking hair, which killed her. And then I pulled it out of the fucking, out of the mouth of the vacuum, and which saved a little bit of it, right? But if you looked down right after it happened, she had a bald spot that was the size of a golf ball. And I mean, ripped out of her head. You don't know how much that hurts, right? We don't have any kind of historical perspective on it. I don't think anyone to have that much ripped out of her head. And then it just started to slowly seep blood. Like I had that happen once when somebody gave me a bad straight edge razoring. I got a shave with a straight edge. And then on my way home, I started to get like hematoma where the blood just started to come in and seep through my head, and like certain bruises where the guy did it. This started to come through. She was in so much pain. So, like, honestly, Bridget doesn't have a high threshold for pain. I don't think that's a shocker. You know what I mean? She's not
expected to at that age.
Yeah, exactly. I'm not disappointed at it.
And not your daughter.
You're not supposed to be fucking dirty Harry at 11.
Yeah, suck it up, bitch. But it wasn't one of those. But man, icing and stuff. And then Mick is standing there. And I think I told you, chaps, I went right at Mick because you have that maternal instinct to protect your kid. But like somebody just assaulted my daughter. By the way, I saw a pretty good movie called Small Engine Repair. That has something to do on this. But I jumped up. I was so fucking mad at this person who assaulted my daughter, and it was my son, that I was like, Mick, go. And then he ran upstairs. I was like, just go and go away. And, he was very, very torn up about it, very, very, contrite about it and whatnot. So we had to wait a couple of weeks. She had to wear her hair in a high ponytail. That way the hair would come across like up here. Like she looked like I Dream of Jeannie for like a month.
Yeah, you didn't want her to walk around looking like Tom Cruise in The Last Samurai.
Yeah. But we just didn't want anything because she's so white, like me, right? Like I'm a bathtub turned upside down. Bridget's got the same complexion as me. She's like alabaster. So like whenever like a part would move, you would see it. You would see this just white, this clearing in the forest, like all of a sudden a helipad in the middle of the forest or something like that. So we had to be very careful.
Did you stick a spoon to it like powder?
Yeah, 100%. And so we were very careful with it. And once it started to grow in, which it did grow in, like I said, pretty quickly, but it just hasn't grown out to the length of her hair yet. You know what I mean? Like but once it grown in, then I put it on TikTok. And then for the Christmas card, I stopped the recording, and it's a grainy Christmas card. You got it too, right, Chaps?
Yeah, I got it. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I didn't give one to Nikki the Good just because he wasn't on yet, but I stopped it at the exact time where she was at her most wailingest. Like you can see her just with her legs in the air like a fucking torture contraption. You see Mick just hop out to do the ass and elbows. And then you see a young Bo Jackson with no hair, white guy, just jump up, very muscular.
Good hit,
like
Bo Jackson, before he
fucked
up his
heroic first step. So I'm making a heroic, athletic first. Remember when Bo ran out of his hip because he was so athletic? He actually, it was like me. So I was like this, almost like a.
That's exactly when I opened up the card. I was like, "This looks like Bo Jackson."
Correct. I've gotten it a lot. So that's it. So that was thing. So she's almost grown back, but she had like a gig the next day, where she had to go back for like Sex in the City reshoot and stuff. And I could have went crazy. And you know me, I sometimes go a little bit crazy, but no harm, no foul after the fact. But she holds it over his head a little bit. Like I know now that we're removed from it, right? A couple of months, and she still brings it up every now and again. And he owns it.
Hey Mick, you remember that time you pulled out all my hair?
Yeah, remember that time you assaulted me? But we were like, should we go? You don't know. Should you go to the hospital?
And Finn's like, hey, Bridge, does Mick walk home from school? Find out. So yes, that was the Mick story. I wish that you had the ability to put on like a card that you push the little button and the noise record scratch. You might be wondering how I got into this situation.
Well, that's what they said when I was doing the TikTok, Chaps. Like everyone's like, oh, you should do it in all these, because the way that I did the original TikTok for it was I showed what had happened and it looks extremely staged, like a goofy. Yeah. And then I just go to the picture of her bald spot. And when I show people it like that, everyone had the same reaction. Like you were in town, Chaps, when I showed you. So everyone's like, holy Jesus. Like, because it went from something that you're not sure what the fuck's happening to something being like, wow, that's definitive assault. So I didn't get as much clicks as I thought I would for it. Like I was like, when am I going to get this again? But still, it's a good little memory. So we put it on the Christmas card, which I didn't tell her. I didn't tell Bridge that we were doing that. I didn't tell Annie that we were doing it. Like, because we skip years and Christmas cards now, it doesn't matter. So all of a sudden, Shutterfly came to the door. They have like that like seafoam green box. I only ordered like 75 or 100 of them. And then he's like, what's this? I was like, oh shit, you know what? I pulled a picture for our thing. I think it's gonna be funny. So they opened it as a family to see it. They were fucking dying. And we only sent it to people who knew the story. Like I'm not sending it to my Aunt Vera, who's like fighting COVID in Dublin right now.
Yeah.
She's 92 years old.
What the fuck is this? What happened to Bridget?
What are those crazy fucking cunts up to?
These fucking Americans back at it again, I tell you.
So it was only, so we had, I think I had like 75 made, and I think we only sent out like 60 of them or something. So
collector's item. I'm gonna put that shit on eBay.
Yeah, but it's grainy, but for people who know what it is, it's a pretty funny card. So that's the story.
Yeah, we'll have either large or the Podfathers. We'll have someone put out the TikTok too, right? Did you put it on Twitter? You put it on Twitter at some point, right?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
So we'll put it out there. It was a hilarious, and you did a good job too. You addressed the Christmas card to Sienna. It said Sienna Clemenza. So she opened it, and then she's like, "What is this, Dad?" I go, "That's." You remember Bridget? We went to medieval times with her. That's her scalp getting ripped apart by her brother in the vacuum right there.
I might have sent McNeely family. I don't do McNeely family, or I don't do Clemenza family or something like that. I usually send it to somebody. I find that that's something I'd like, since your daughter.
I think you put
Chaps
and Elise. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So your daughter knows Bridge. So I think that if Sienna opens it up, to have that familiarity. And then whenever I send a gift, and you have to put the little gift tags on it from my family, I always say from Finn. So if I send you flowers or booze or a fucking spiral ham or whatever,
I can see Finn standing in line at UPS like, oh, let's go. Got to get back to work.
and everyone's like,
hurry it up. I got fucking work to do, people. Let's go. Let's go.
I think early on, Andy's like, why are you giving Finn all that, credit? I'm like, it's just the right thing to do.
Yeah.
It just makes the most sense.
Mm-hmm.
That's good. Then the next question up is from our boy Nicky the Good. This one we didn't put last week, but we got to do it now. I don't know if he's even going through it. He has to be going through it. I hope he's still going through it. I hope it wasn't this quick for him. I've been informed that potty training starts this weekend and that I'm not allowed to leave the house because we must be quote unquote committed to the process. And I think this was during Christmas break. Nick, was this during Christmas break?
Yeah, it was like right leading up to New Year's. We picked that weekend to do it.
Yeah. So is this actually true? So Nick,
I like the idea of Nick and his wife just combing through the calendar to find a good weekend to start potty training. What do you got going on Easter?
How old's your kid, Nick?
She just turned 3 in December.
Just turned 3. Oh, so that is kind of the perfect way to go about it. So I guess Large, we'll start with you because you've been going through this obviously the longest and you are well removed from it. Were you ever committed to the process here, getting something started, or was Ann just like, stay out of my way, you fucking oaf, and don't fuck this up what I'm doing here?
Yeah, it's the same thing. Like it was during the time when I was working regularly for all that stuff. So I got to miss a lot of it. Like I'd go home and we used to cut the holes in the diapers. Like, well, for one, I think one of them didn't like using the potty or like to use the potty with a diaper on. So we went from that where it was sort of controlled, like they were shitting in a diaper on the potty.
That's how you get a cat that's shit in the toilet too.
100%. My kids are all feline. And then to cutting that whole, like I remember doing that stuff. And then we also had poop frog. And I think Chaps, you remember from canine training, they always had those kick the clickers. Mm-hmm. So we had one that would look like a frog. It would just be click, 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 click. And when the kids would go on, they would be clicking the frog until they would go. It was like the poop frog. And they kind of liked doing that. And then all of a sudden, poop frog, and they'd go and they grab the fucking frog and go in and do it. So there was
create all those pooping Pavlovian response.
Yes, exactly. So they'd hear the click, and all of a sudden, which is also probably good for cats too.
Until somebody has a clicker at like fucking track practice, and next thing you know, Finn's got to run take a shit.
Yeah, exactly. We read a book on cats very early on, and it's helped us out too. Our kids
we also saw it on Broadway.
Yeah,
the movie wasn't great.
But like this,
they themselves to bathe. Yeah,
in his ear.
See the hairballs out of fucking Finn. But yeah, so that's about all I was privy to.
Chaps, I feel like you guys probably had a similar thing too, where it's like, is wifey like a process person? Like, all right, all hands on deck. We're fucking focused on this. Get this fucking thing set. Or I mean, my wife handles everything obviously here.
I think that the brain works in mysterious ways. Like the more that we learn about neuroscience, the more that we can appreciate the human experience. I think that my brain has blocked out all of that trauma. Like I don't remember a lot of the body training process. I just remember there was a shopping cart full of $1 Dollar Tree toys that were given out for every time somebody would make.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it. Yeah, and I have
you don't get a toy for an underwear burp.
Yep, and we just had one of those last night from AJ. That was a nice little surprise where he's nice and quiet, as I could see the spot where he was standing too. And I go, buddy, are you? Yeah, you're going right now. And you just carry him upstairs, and nice white pair of Spider-Man underwears right into the garbage, fresh off the bat. So
I actually saw a TikTok that was like that the other day. Where what if humans adults didn't learn to be potty trained, where it was just like you are when you're a toddler? Like there's one where this kid's walking by his dad and he's like, hey, did you see that tennis store? And the kid's like, yes, I saw it. And the dad's like, are you taking a shit right now? And the kid goes, yeah. Like just sit there taking a shit. Like if I'm just having a conversation with Large about how this kid's hair got ripped out, and next thing you know, I'm just fucking grunting out a growler right there in the office.
Chap's shitting right now on the podcast, as he always does. You started clicking, Large, and as soon as you started clicking,
exactly.
And Nick seems like he's doing all right though, because his kid's always on the potty when he sends pictures to us. The kid's just watching TV. That's the other thing. Don't fight the kid. If they want to watch TV instead of the potty, do that. As long as you stay dry, the floors stay dry, you're good.
Can I give an update?
Yes, please do.
Yeah, so she's got peeing down. So she goes right over and pees full stream, like you can hear it, so it's a good one. And she dropped a big old dumpski the other day, but she kicks everyone out of the room when she does it. So she'll say, Daddy, go, kitchen or wherever, and Mommy, go upstairs, take a shower. She'll just, wherever we're not around, she'll tell us to go, and then she'll do her business.
Hate to see poop shame come up at such an early age.
Yeah.
It's just travesty.
Well, when your kid's on that potty and then they start pooping and you can see right through their soul, it kind of fucks you up. I don't like it one bit. So you got it pretty good, Nick. If she's kicking you out of the room when the dumpskis are coming out, I think you're doing all right. So
if we could just teach these damn kids to flush every time, that would be the best. I get so tired of going to the bathroom and picking up the lid and seeing just a big old Cardi dump in there.
We had that the other day. I think it was the first day when it was on Friday when Sienna got snowed in and AJ was on quarantine. And I just hear my wife go, all right, who pooped in the toilet? And it's like, I don't know if she's mad at Sienna for not flushing or happy that AJ did it and just didn't flush. And I hadn't even left the bed, or else I could have been a definite suspect as well.
That's one of my favorite old vines where the Scottish woman comes in. All right, which one of you fucking took a shit? And the kids are like, I did, Bob. You're fucking disgusting.
So even when they're potty trained, it doesn't get any easier. That's the long and short of this story.
Who fucking shit?
So if you're looking to train your kids on how to poop and pee in the potty, just get one of those books about how to train cats. So you can
I thought that was going to be an ad. I was like, what ad is close? If you're trying to get your kid to shit, go with Squatty Potty. It'll put their knees high.
If you want to stay warm in your house as your kids are shitting, get a Solo Stone. So that's it for the week. As always, we'll see you guys next week, and stay safe and stay sane up there. And shout out to everyone who's fucking free now that we are fucking another week removed from the holiday shitstorm. See you guys next week.